The Norwegian F-16 feels like the love child between two people of the same family tree. Sure, it has some really good qualities, but there are definitely some things wrong with it. This F-16 has a top speed of 2,146 kilometers per hour, or about 1,300 miles per hour at about 11,000 meters in altitude. When comparing other vehicles that you'll see at 13.7, this vehicle does have a pretty middle line speed overall. And also this F-16 does have a little bit of a weaker engine compared to everything else at 13.7, which does negatively affect its speed stat. So it's going to get a 4 out of 10 for speed. Moving on to agility, this is just a heavier F-16 ADF due to the upgrades it got. And last major update, the ADF was considered about the 8th best dogfighter, so that makes the F-16 about the 10th best dogfighter in the game. Although being placed at 13.7, it really does depend on your matchups because you will be facing a lot of vehicles that can definitely outturn you like Eurofighters and Rafales. So for agility, it's going to get a 6 out of 10. Moving on to this F-16's air-to-air weaponry, you do get access to AIM-9Ls, AIM-9Ms, and AIM-120B missiles. And you can have 6 total. And I personally found the best loadout to be 2 9Ms and 4 120s. At 13.7, this is a respectable loadout, although you will be facing vehicles that have much more munitions than that, and you will definitely be facing vehicles with much more advanced munitions like Mikas and R-73s. So for offense, it will be getting a 5 out of 10. Defense-wise, this F-16 is a little bit special. Baseline, you get 45 countermeasures with only 15 being large caliber, which is notably less than basically every other F-16 in-game. However, if you sacrifice 2 missile slots for the Maul pods, which does give you access to Maul, you can have a grand total of 195 countermeasures with 15 still being large caliber. Just as a little side note, currently the Maul pods are broken and bugged and cannot be used, but for me personally, I would still run the full amount of missiles and get rid of the Maul system just because I can deal with having less countermeasures. And then finally for this thing's RWR, it is notably missing some radar bands and it is notably missing some vertical detection. So as for defense, this vehicle is going to get a 3 out of 10. Moving on to close air support ability, this is where this F-16 absolutely shines. You get access to a butt ton of dumb munitions as well as AGM-65Ds and G Mavericks, which are definitely the best here, as well as a bunch of glide bombs and guided bombs, incendiary bombs if you wish to base bomb in a fighter, and most notably you do get access to the Penguin air-to-ground missiles. These are IR and GPS lock-on after launch missiles, or if there's an enemy within the GPS zone, it will lock onto them when it's about 3 kilometers away, but they are a little slow for top tier, so they will get shot down, so you can use them as bait and cover. And as an added perk, you can carry the Maul pods and bombs with this vehicle. While you are not technically lacking in range because the Penguins have a range of 55 kilometers, you're still lacking in range because they most likely will get shot down. Otherwise, you do have a pretty good loadout and you can carry more defense as long as you're playing CAS. So for its CAS ability, it's going to get a 7 out of 10. As for its features, it gets access to flares, chaff, Maul, radar, and optical detection, RWR, a ballistics computer, HMD, NVDs, and a thermal imager, as well as an arrestor gear and a drag parachute. There's nothing really special about this vehicle, although it does have HMD at 13.7, which is a little bit special considering there are some vehicles that don't have it at that BR. The only other feature of this vehicle is the fact that it carries the Penguins, which is one of 2 vehicles in game currently with them, so it's going to get a 6 out of 10 for features. As for durability, it's an F-16, it's literally right in the middle of the road, so 5 out of 10. As for difficulty, this F-16 is definitely one of the more difficult F-16s in game, just due to the fact that you have to balance between countermeasures and offense. Otherwise, it feels like you're just playing an F-16. So with 10 being the hardest, I'm going to give this vehicle a 5 out of 10. As for the fun value of this F-16, I actually did find it fun. I do like a little bit of a challenge when I'm playing my vehicles. And the challenge of this vehicle was finding different ways of defending without using countermeasures. So while playing this vehicle, it was definitely a lot of using terrain to kind of mask my radar and using terrain and lead manipulation to put the IR missiles right into the ground by going up and down. Because when life and Warthunder is hard, bounce on it. Although you do have to note, by far this is definitely not one of the best vehicles at top tier, but it's still good enough to play with it. So for the fun value, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. As for the worth value for the F-16, it's definitely only really for people who want to play close air support. While you do get less defense than let's say the F-18 and the Gripen, weapons, you do get more offensive weaponry. With the F-16, you can carry air-to-air missiles while also carrying air-to-ground missiles, which is quite hard to do on the Gripen, and the F-A-18 MLU-2 is missing those air-to-ground missiles. So essentially, the Gripen and the F-A-18 MLU-2 are cousins and the parents of the F-16 for Norway. So for the worth value, I'm going to give this vehicle a 7 out of 10 only if you're playing CAS, because the Norwegian F-16 offers a very good CAS option for the Swedish ground lineup. This gives the Swedish Norwegian F-16 AM an overall score of a 54 out of 100.